Australia has a new sprint king thanks to this blistering run by Lachlan Kennedy.
Brilliant start from Omanyala. Walaza not quite as good as he was in that recall, but here goes Lachlan Kennedy. Could Lachlan Kennedy go under 10 seconds for the first time and take a big win?
Lachlan Kennedy just did what almost no Australian sprinter has ever done, and no one saw it coming. In a sport dominated by lightning-fast Americans and Jamaicans, a 21-year-old from Brisbane stepped up in Nairobi and ran the 100 meters in a jaw-dropping 9.98 seconds. No wind assistance, no controversy, just raw speed. Only one other Aussie has ever gone sub-10 legally in history. That was 22 years ago. And now, Lachlan Kennedy's name is being whispered in sprinting circles around the world. So who is this rising star? And could he be the future of Australian sprinting? Because what he did that day wasn't just fast, it was historic. Lachlan Kennedy didn't grow up dreaming of Olympic gold. In fact, his first major sporting moments came on the rugby field. Born in November 2003 and raised in Brisbane, Kennedy showed explosive speed early on. That speed first earned him recognition in junior rugby union, where he even wore the green and gold as part of Australia's youth teams. But like many young Aussie athletes, the lure of sprinting became too strong to ignore. As he transitioned from rugby into athletics full-time, it became clear that this wasn't just another quick kid. He had something special. Kennedy began showing promise across various sprint distances: 60 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters. He stood out not just for his top-end speed, but for how rapidly he was improving. As of early 2025, his personal bests already looked elite, a 20.26 in the 200 meters, and major wins across national meets. But nothing hinted that a sub-10 was just around the corner. It was the 31st of May 2025 at the Kip Keino Classic in Nairobi, Kenya. A meet better known for its long-distance dominance suddenly became the site of sprinting history. Lachlan Kennedy lined up among a competitive field, but no one expected what came next. He blasted out of the blocks, held his form, and crossed the line in 9.98 seconds. Legal wind, verified timing, no question marks. That made him the first Australian in 22 years to break the 10-second barrier under legal conditions. The only other Aussie ever to do it was Patrick Johnson, who ran a 9.93 back in 2003. Not even stars like Rohan Browning or up-and-comers like Gout Gout have managed it in a legal setting. This wasn't just a fast time, it was a national milestone. Kennedy had joined an exclusive club, and he'd done it in one of the least expected ways, in high-altitude Nairobi, far from the spotlight of major sprinting capitals. To understand why this is huge, you have to understand what the 10-second barrier means in track and field. It's not just a round number, it's a mythic threshold. Breaking 10 seconds means you're part of sprinting's elite. It's a psychological milestone as much as a physical one. Only about 170 men in history have ever legally done it. To get there, your start drive phase, top speed, and finish all have to be near perfect. In Australia, sub-10 has always been a rare and almost sacred mark. Despite having talented sprinters through the decades, the country hasn't produced many sub-10 runners. Even wind-assisted runs or near misses haven't changed that. Lachlan Kennedy didn't just run fast. He cracked a code that stumped an entire generation of Aussie athletes. Australia has always had potential in sprinting, but the results have rarely lived up to it. Patrick Johnson's 9.93 in 2003 set a record that still stands. Since then, others have flirted with the barrier. Rohan Browning ran 10.01 and made headlines at the Tokyo Olympics, but the sub-10 mark remained untouched. Gout Gout, another rising star, has posted blistering times, but often with illegal wind readings. For years, Aussie sprint fans have been asking, who will be next? That question just got answered. Kennedy's run wasn't a fluke with tailwinds. It was clean, legal, and efficient. It showed not only that Australians can do it again, but that the next wave might be even faster. But now comes the real test. Consistency. Breaking 10 seconds once is incredible. Doing it again and again under different conditions is what defines a true global contender. Kennedy will now face scrutiny he's never seen before. Every performance will be dissected. Every slight injury will make headlines. Every race will come with expectations. And there's also the physical toll. Sprinting at that level pushes your body to the absolute edge. One mistimed step or muscle strain can end a season. He'll need to manage recovery, focus on form, and block out the noise. Mental resilience will matter just as much as physical ability from here on out. So where does a 9.98 put Kennedy on the global stage? Good question. At the world level, sub 10 is the minimum to make finals. To win medals, you often need to go 9.80 seconds or lower. That's the level of athletes like Fred Kerley, Christian Coleman, and Marcel Jacobs. But what Kennedy has shown is that he has the tools, the technique, the acceleration, the form. And at 21, he has time. If he can shave even a tenth of a second off his time, he moves from being fast to being a true contender. He'll also be entering bigger meets now, Diamond League events, World Championships, maybe even the Paris Olympics if his form holds. That exposure will either sharpen him or expose flaws. Either way, we're going to find out fast. Back home, Kennedy's success is sure to reignite competition. Rohan Browning, once hailed as the future of Aussie sprinting, now has a real rival. Gout, with raw speed and power, will want to prove he's more than just hype. National titles will become must-watch races. And with the media now circling, Kennedy will carry not just his own goals, but the hopes of Australian athletics. Can he inspire a new wave of sprinters? Can he help Australia finally build a relay team that threatens on the world stage? Those are big questions, but his 9.98 has given fans a reason to believe. What comes next could define Kennedy's career. He's likely to be invited to more international events. Each race will be a chance to prove that Nairobi wasn't a one-off. He'll need to train smarter, stay injury-free, and adapt to travel, pressure, and fatigue. His technique will be analyzed by coaches around the world. His starts in particular will be crucial. Many sprinters lose their edge in the first 30 meters. If Kennedy can perfect that, there's no reason he can't run even faster. 9.98 is a beginning, not a peak. Athletics, especially sprinting, is about more than just times. It's about stories. And Lachlan Kennedy's story just became one of the most exciting in Australian sport. He wasn't the most hyped. He didn't train in the US college system or have a massive sponsorship deal. He came up quietly, worked hard, and delivered when it mattered most. That's why people are excited, because his run represents more than just speed. It represents belief that someone unexpected can rise, that Australia still has sprinting greatness in its veins, and that maybe, just maybe, the next global sprint star is wearing green and gold. Lachlan Kennedy's 9.98-second sprint wasn't just fast, it was historic. It shattered expectations, reignited national pride, and reminded the world that speed can come from unexpected places. But this is just the beginning. The pressure will mount, the competition will get fiercer, and fans will be watching every race, every step, every split time. The big question now, was this lightning in a bottle, or the birth of Australia's next sporting legend? Stay tuned, because the world just got a lot more interested in Lachlan Kennedy.
But look at this from Jefferson-Wooden. She's absolutely flying in the night.
Melissa Jefferson-Wooden just did something amazing. This 24-year-old American runner went from saving her dad's life to breaking sprint records, and she just showed the whole world how incredible she really is. At the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Jefferson-Wooden didn't just win gold medals, she made history. She became the first American woman ever to win both the 100 meters and 200 meters at a single World Championships. Only 3 other women in the entire world have ever done this before her. Let's start with that jaw-dropping 100-meter final. Jefferson-Wooden lined up against the fastest women on the planet, including Olympic champion Julian Alfred and sprint legend Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. When the gun went off, Jefferson-Wooden exploded out of the blocks and never looked back. She crossed the finish line in 10.61 seconds, a new championship record and the 4th fastest time in women's 100-meter history. After the race, she was still processing what had happened. "When I crossed the line, I was like, oh wow, I won," Jefferson-Wooden said. "I haven't felt happier. Today was all about me, about trusting my abilities, my coach, the line I have been given, and my faith. But here's what makes this even more incredible. Jefferson-Wooden wasn't always a sprinting superstar. Back in 2018, she made one of the most selfless decisions an athlete can make. Her father was diagnosed with a rare blood condition, and she put her athletic career on hold to become his stem cell donor. She literally saved his life, then came back to save American sprinting. The 100-meter field was absolutely stacked. Jamaica's Tina Clayton grabbed silver with a personal best of 10.76, while Olympic champion Julian Alfred took bronze despite running with a hamstring injury. The defending world champion Sha'Carri Richardson could only manage 5th place, and the crowd favorite, 38-year-old Fraser Price, finished 6th in what would be her final major championship appearance. Fraser Price deserves special mention here. This Jamaican legend has been dominating sprints since 2008, winning Olympic golds and 5 world 100-meter titles. Seeing her compete one last time brought tears to many eyes, including her own. She received the biggest ovation from the Tokyo crowd, a fitting tribute to one of the greatest sprinters ever. But Jefferson-Wooden wasn't done making history. Just 5 days later, she lined up for the 200-meter final with even bigger goals in mind. Nobody had completed the sprint double at World Championships since Fraser Price herself did it back in 2013. That's a 12-year gap. Here's where it gets really interesting. Jefferson-Wooden didn't even consider herself a 200-meter specialist. At the start of 2025, her personal best was 22.46 seconds. She told her coaches she wanted to take the 200 meters more seriously, and as she recalls, they both kind of looked at each other like, "Did I hear what she just said? Is she serious?" Well, she was dead serious. In that 200-meter final, Jefferson-Wooden ran 21.68 seconds, the fastest time in the world in 2 years. She didn't just win, she absolutely crushed the competition. The silver medalist, Britain's Amy Hunt, finished nearly half a second behind her. That's a massive gap in sprinting terms. Hunt's story is pretty inspiring too. The 23-year-old Cambridge University graduate delayed her athletic career to get an English degree. After winning her first major medal, she had a message for young athletes. You can be an academic badass and a track goddess. You can be the best in everything. The 200-meter field was missing some big names due to injuries. Olympic champion Gabby Thomas withdrew with an Achilles problem, and Julian Alfred couldn't compete after straining her hamstring in the 100-meter final. But Jefferson-Wooden didn't care about asterisks or missing competitors. She ran the race of her life when it mattered most. Defending 200-meter champion Shericka Jackson of Jamaica took bronze, but even she couldn't match Jefferson-Wooden's speed. The American was clearly in a league of her own, coming off the bend with a commanding lead and maintaining her smooth, powerful stride all the way to the line. "I came out here and I did exactly what I set out to do," Jefferson-Wooden said after her victory. "Not a lot of women double anymore, so for me to come here, do the double and win gold medals just says a lot." But wait, there's more. Jefferson-Wooden wasn't satisfied with just 2 gold medals. She wanted to match Fraser Price's incredible achievement from 2013, winning 3 sprint golds at a single World Championships. That meant the 4x100-meter relay. The relay final took place in absolutely torrential rain. We're talking about conditions that would make most people want to stay indoors, let alone run the race of their lives. But Jefferson-Wooden and her American teammates, Twanisha, Terry, Kayla White, and anchor leg Sha'Carri Richardson, weren't about to let weather stop them. Jefferson-Wooden ran the opening leg in those terrible conditions, handing off to her teammates in good position. Richardson brought the baton home in 41.75 seconds, giving the United States their 3rd consecutive world title in this event and Jefferson-Wooden her 3rd gold medal of the championships. The Jamaican team, anchored by Fraser Price in her final race ever, took silver in 41.79 seconds. It was the perfect send-off for the sprint legend, who actually ran faster on her opening leg than Jefferson-Wooden did, clocking 11.32 compared to 11.38. Even at 38 years old, Fraser Price was still showing incredible speed. Fraser Price's career numbers are simply mind-blowing. She's won 17 world medals, 10 of them gold, plus 8 Olympic medals, including back-to-back 100-meter golds in 2008 and 2012. Her 2013 triple gold performance in Moscow, winning the 100, 200, and 4x100 relay, was considered one of the greatest championship performances ever. Until now. What Jefferson-Wooden accomplished puts her in the most exclusive club in athletics. Only 4 women in history have won both the 100 and 200 meters at a single World Championships. The others are Germany's Silke Gladisch in 1987, Germany's Katrine Krabbe in 1991, and Fraser Price in 2013. Jefferson-Wooden is not only the newest member, but also the first American woman ever to achieve this feat. The numbers tell an incredible story of dominance. Jefferson-Wooden went undefeated in the 100 meters throughout the entire 2025 season. She won all 3 Grand Slam track events, beat the entire Paris Olympic final field at the Prefontaine Classic, and never looked back. In the 200 meters, she only lost once all year. Her rise has been meteoric. Just over a year ago, she won bronze in the 100 meters at the Paris Olympics. Now she's rewritten the sprint record books and established herself as the new face of American sprinting. Her 10.61 championship record makes her the 4th fastest woman in history, putting her in the same conversation as legends like Florence Griffith Joyner. When asked about chasing the world record, Jefferson-Wooden showed respect for the sport's history. "Flojo is the greatest to ever do it. She put a number out there that's definitely worth chasing," she said, referring to Griffith Joyner's 10.49 world record from 1988. The United States had an absolutely dominant championships overall, winning a record 16 gold medals and breaking their previous best of 14. Jefferson-Wooden's 3 golds played a huge part in that success, showing just how valuable one athlete can be to a team's medal count. What's particularly impressive is how Jefferson-Wooden handled the pressure. Coming into Tokyo as the world leader and favorite, she could have cracked under expectations. Instead, she embraced the moment. She explained, "Instead of putting the pressure on myself and taking it as something overwhelming, I was just embracing it." Looking ahead to the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, Jefferson-Wooden is already thinking big. "I definitely put a target on my back," she said. "I'm now looking forward to the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics." The changing of the guard in women's sprinting is now complete. Fraser Price has retired as the undisputed queen of the sprints, passing the torch to Jefferson-Wooden, who has shown she's ready to carry American sprinting into a new era.
If you really look at my whole season, I've done a really good job of just, blocking out the outside noise and then just focusing on me, focusing on how I can continue to be the best Melissa that I can be.
The women's 100-meter final at the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo was supposed to be a showdown, with Olympic champion Julian Alfred on one side, rising Jamaican talent Tina Clayton on the other, and veterans like Sha'Carri Richardson and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price in the mix. The stage was set for a classic sprint duel. But instead, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden turned it into a masterclass. Jefferson-Wooden exploded from the blocks and within 50 meters had already built a lead that no one could touch. She powered through the line in 10.61 seconds, breaking the championship record and clocking the 4th fastest time in history. No woman had ever run that fast at a world championship before. Her margin of victory was stunning, 0.15 seconds ahead of Tina Clayton, who ran a personal best 10.76 for silver, and Olympic champion Julian Alfred, who claimed bronze in 10.84. Sha'Carri Richardson crossed in 10.94 for 5th, while Fraser Price, in her final World Championship appearance, finished 6th in 11.03. "I have been dreaming of this moment," Jefferson-Wooden said after the race. "Instead of putting the pressure on myself, I just embraced it. When the gun went off, I thought, come on, get out strong. The rest went like a blink of an eye." This wasn't just one race, it was the perfect cap to a flawless season. Jefferson-Wooden had not lost a single 100-meter all year. She had run under 11 seconds in every race, dominating fields across the globe and showing consistency rarely seen in sprinting. "This year was about accepting that I wanted to be a better athlete and putting in the work to do so," she explained. The work clearly paid off. From the first Diamond League meets to the final in Tokyo, she was untouchable. Her victory also marked a redemption arc. Just a year earlier, at the Paris Olympics, she had to settle for bronze behind Alfred and Richardson. That disappointment fueled her drive to become the world's best. Now, with her world title secured, she looks unstoppable heading into the 200 meters. Julian Alfred came into Tokyo with hopes of repeating her Olympic triumph, but a pulled hamstring hampered her start and she had to settle for bronze. "It was not my time today," she admitted. Tina Clayton, however, rose to the occasion. At only 21, she showed Jamaica's sprinting future is in good hands. "It is a great feeling to put Jamaica back on the podium," she said after her silver medal run. Sha'Carri Richardson, Jefferson-Wooden's American teammate and training partner, was not the same athlete who lit up the track in Budapest 2 years ago. Her fifth-place finish capped a frustrating season.